If you're getting into the legal marijuana markets in either Maine or Massachusetts, you need to connect with McCabe Law LLC of Portland, Maine to make sure that you have all your legal bases covered. They're a full-spectrum cannabis law firm who has you covered from lease to license and through seed to sale. Learn more about all the things they do over at McCabeLawLLC.com, which is spelled McCabe LawLLC.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Wednesday, August 2nd, 2017, and you're tuned in to episode 301 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day is a request made yesterday by U.S. Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon asking that U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions make public the recommendations he received last week from the Task Force on Crime Reduction and Public Safety, a group he convened to advise him on certain criminal justice issues, including marijuana policy and prison sentencing reform. As I reported on last week, Sessions was expected by some to use the issuing of the recommendations to call for a crackdown on the legal marijuana industry, but as the deadline for the recommendations to be given to Sessions passed, the Attorney General simply issued a statement saying that he had received them, would be reviewing them, and would let everyone know what he would do about them later on. He did not, in that process, actually release the recommendations he got from the task force. Yesterday, Senator Wyden sent a letter to Sessions asking that he release those recommendations, as well as explain the circumstances around how and when he got them. Swing over to Tom Angel's piece on this one over at MassRoots, where you can find a link to the letter in full. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Our second story of the day continues on the themes of our first, with Tom Angel playing a different role this time as an activist and leader of the Marijuana Majority, a nonprofit advocacy group that pushes for progressive marijuana policy change. This story also involves the Trump administration, though this one takes a focus on the special White House commission chaired by disgraced Governor Chris Christie that I reported on recently for its release of a draft version of a report that it will issue in October to President Trump regarding the nation's opioid drug crisis. Vice News picked up on the story that the committee, in its draft report, completely ignored thousands of public comments made in favor of using medical marijuana to treat opioid drug addiction. On Monday, Vice News issued a Freedom of Information Act request asking that the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy release all public comments received by Christie's commission, which would show any pro-marijuana comments left out by the commission. We'll report back on this one as it resolves. Our final top story of the day is a long-form profile piece in Politico that centers around the question of whether legal marijuana will be the force that propels Florida activist and attorney John Morgan to the state's top political office as governor. Mr. Morgan should be a familiar name to regular listeners as he was the main driver and funder of Florida's successful bid to expand their medical marijuana program via ballot initiative. Although the state's lawmakers have struggled to implement the reforms called for in November's ballot measure, it's inarguable that the cause of medical marijuana in Florida has been advanced. It's that energy that the Politico article supposes could help push Mr. Morgan to become the next Florida governor. This is a good one to spend the time diving into. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, McCabe Law LLC of Portland, Maine, for their generous support. I've been friends with company founder Chris McCabe for a while now and have seen firsthand just how much he and his team of pros at McCabe Law care about this issue. They're more than just legal hired guns. They're in this thing for the long haul and they want to make sure that things get done right in every possible way. Put that energy and activist passion to work for your legal marijuana business by opening up McCabeLawLLC.com to learn more and to get in touch. That's spelled McCabe Lawllc.com. All right, time for the Blitz. As I reported on yesterday, there's concern brewing over a proposed ballot initiative to legalize adult use marijuana in South Dakota because the language specified in the actual ballot initiative seemingly only legalizes marijuana paraphernalia, not cannabis itself. Yesterday, the Argus Leader followed up with their initial story on the issue with an update that includes the offending language, which you can click over to see for yourself. As this isn't the first time a drafting error has caused this kind of thing before in marijuana activism, and I'm looking at you, Montana, This might be a good wake-up call for activist groups to hire editors to double-check their work, and then hire editors to check the editor's work, and then more editors. Editors all the way down. New York State formally approved 5 new medical marijuana licensees yesterday to join the existing 5 already licensed and operational. Each of the new 5 chosen will be given license to operate 1 grow facility and 4 dispensaries. Marijuana Business Daily is a good piece up, pulling some of the numbers around Canada's healthy marijuana investment scene, with more than $770 million in investment made in licensed medical marijuana companies just in the first half of 2017, a 1,700% bump over the previous year. That total was put together by a large number of transactions, 2 of which were worth $100 million Canadian each. As I've reported on extensively in the past, there's big things going on up in Canada, and this article nicely puts some numbers to that sentiment. Christopher Ingraham over at the Washington Post wrote a good article about a recent study showing that people who consume marijuana on a daily basis handle stress better than those who don't, but I thought the Cannabist took the day with their rewrite of the headline, coming up with, quote, "Scientists go through the trouble to research if regular weed users are more relaxed than others," unquote. In short, yes, they are. Science says so. The city of Los Angeles is struggling to figure out how to legalize its large collection of less than legal dispensaries. For years now, the city has taken a hands-off approach to legal marijuana dispensaries, offering something they call limited immunity, which gives stores that strive to comply with local and state law a certain amount of protection from prosecution if their stores should happen to be raided by police. The system is not a great one for the industry, as it offers no guarantees from being raided in the first place, and the scant protection it does provide can come months after a raid and the accompanying financial and business damages that can accompany it. During a recent LA Cannabis Task Force meeting, former LA Police Commissioner and current marijuana activist Raphael Bernardino Jr. urged officials to scrap the system entirely, saying, quote, "No one understands it. Landlords don't know what it means. Insurance companies don't know what it means. A limited immunity is nothing. It's something you get to raise after you're prosecuted. Half of City Hall recognizes cannabis as an industry that has a lot of potential, and the other half doesn't want to allow it at all. This is the compromise, and it's not a good compromise," unquote. We'll report back on this one as events warrant. Colorado-based bluegrass jam band the Yonder Mountain String Band just announced that they would be lending their name to a strain of legal marijuana to be developed by Boulder-based dispensary The Farm. While they are certainly not the first group of musicians or celebrities to brand themselves in legal cannabis, I think it's a good leading indicator of more deals like this to come. Our final story of the day is the legal tussle being waged by Kanye West and a division of insurance giant Lloyd's of London over the reasoning behind his cancellation of a series of concerts last year for which his promotional company had purchased insurance for, with West saying it was due to a medical condition while the insurance company is saying it was because of his marijuana use. The two parties will now fight it out in court after West filed a federal lawsuit yesterday asking for a little under $10 million in claims to be paid. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, McCabe Law, and all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.